Hey, it's Donna again, and back to the same repetitive theory behind how to use your knowledge of chord shapes and the C major scale dynamics to identify new chords. Now, I'm going to bring you to my least favorite chord shape and my least favorite chords, okay, at least in this position. All right, at least in this shape. So your major chord of A. Sorry. I play it several different ways. Some people play it with these 3 fingers all squished in. 2nd fret, strings 2, 3, and 4. I sometimes play it that way. That's my easiest way of getting it to ring perfectly. Some people play it with these 3 fingers, all squished in, strings 2, 3, and 4, 2nd fret. Well, what's going to be the problem if you play it like that if you want to go up? Your index finger is going to get busy becoming a capo. So I don't often play my A major chord or A chord this way, but I do if I want to do some embellishments. That'll be another lesson, another series. Okay, so here's A major. This is the way I play it. And again, I have the same problem because I'm using my index finger as a miniature bar to play those 3 strings. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. And I use this tip of my index finger because mine happens to bend backwards quite a bit. Not everybody's does. This is how I often play. I just use it as a slightly angled capo. But it's only on those 3 strings. A lot of times I play my A major chord that way. Sorry. So you have to pick the way you like it best. Squish all 3, your first index, ring, and middle finger. Yeah, if you can do it, great. Or use your middle, ring, and pinky. James Taylor has a way of playing this chord, and I'm just not sure how he does it, but it's different. And that's how he starts out Fire and Rain. He has a different fingering of that chord. But anyway, so let's just talk about the A major chord, or A chord. All right, so if you know A, what's the name of that chord? A. So where are you going? On your open A string, okay? You're playing the C major scale. These banners. The C major scale. But you're starting on the A, so C, D, E, F, G, A, the 6th degree, all right? And you just have to remember between B and C is 1 fret, not 2. Between E and F is 1 fret, not 2. Everything else is a whole step or 2 frets. Remember, 1 fret is a half of a step. All right, there are places where there's a natural half step. If you think about a piano, all right, you have the black keys and the white keys, and there is a place, all right, after the 3 black keys where you have 2 white keys right in a row, right, with no black key in between. That's a natural half step, okay? So just remember that. So here is my A chord, all right? Now where's B? On my open A string here. So I want to play B. I hate this bar chord. So I have to use, remember A is on the 2nd fret. So my index finger becomes a capo. And now I have to pretend that the 2nd fret is relative to my index finger, okay? So now I have to figure out, how do I play? That is very difficult. That is very difficult for me. Remember, I don't want to play that E string, that 6th string. I'm having to give someone a finger, sorry. That's a very difficult and unpleasant chord for me to play. But I know how to play it another way, because I also know the shape of E. F, G, A, B. So I often prefer to play my B way up here on the 7th fret instead of here. That actually hurts my hand right in there. I get a really sharp pain right in there. Do I know what it is? I think it's arthritis. I don't know. But I don't like the way it feels. So I avoid that chord. And I'm telling you, I don't believe in avoiding chords except when they consistently cause you pain. There's another way to play them. Find it. Find a different voicing of that chord that does not give you that pain. It might not sound perfect in your song because remember, the 1, 3, 5 is mixed up. It's in an inverted order. So some people can play this easily. Little kids can. I don't know why, but little kids that have been playing the guitar since a very young age, they can do this so easily. I can do it on my classical guitar. Yes, I can. Okay, so there's B, C. What's my preferred way to play C? Right here. There's C, there's D. Ah, that hurts. Where's my preferred way to play D? There, okay? There's E. Where's my preferred way to play E? Right there. Lost my place. D, E. Sorry, I lost my place. So there's B, C, D, E. Okay, there's F right here. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, I just lost myself here. So let me just start again. So there's A, B, C. Sorry, A. You can see how much I don't like it. B, C, D, E, F, F. Can I squeeze all my fingers into 3 strings on what would be the 2nd fret? No. I don't know if it's humanly possible. So there's, what did I say? C? Did I say that was C? I can't remember now. A, B, no. A, B, C, D, E, F. That's G. So most of the shape of this A will result in chords that you already know that are in the first 3 frets. G, E, D, C. All right, but what if you need to play a C flat? How do you go from here to play a C flat? You can't. So there's A, B, C. So here's C, right there, C, C flat. Usually you'll only find this chord if there's a key change in a song. E, F, G, A, B, C. C flat can also be right here. That would be my preferred way of playing it. It's my E shape up on the C. Sorry. That was our first lesson, right? So that would be my preferred way of playing a C flat. There's my C flat. Remember, if I know my C, I know my C flat. Here, it's A, B, C. There's my C, C flat. All right, which is also B. C flat is the same as B. Do you know why? Because it's a natural half step. All right, so that was dumb that I even brought up C flat. There's no such thing. Sorry. Scratch that. All right. Duh. All right. So it's just like saying F flat. No, there's no such thing as F flat. F flattened is E, right? Because E and F, natural half step. So that was a bad example I gave you. All right. But anyway, so that's how you play the major A going up to identify new chords. I don't like it. Will I do it if I absolutely have to? Yes. Sometimes I'll modify it. So I came across a song the other day, several weeks ago, called Gravity. And in the particular key that I played it in, I came across a B flat. There's a place in the song Gravity by Sarah Bareilles that uses a B flat. So instead of, going to that B position with that A shape and dropping it down to the first fret, I took just two strings of the A shape and pressed the B on my fifth string. The other thing I could do if I wanted to play B flat, there's A, all right, there's A, B flat, just play, here's A. Now, keep playing those same strings, A, B, C, D, E, F. I'm just playing the shape of A all the way up. So if I want to play A, and then I want to play B, and I want to play B flat. Sorry. I could cheat. That's a B flat. Because it's got the essential elements to be a chord, but you lose the bass. Or I can just play part of that chord to get the bass sound, right? So again, my least favorite chord shape, unless it's open A, that's my least favorite chord shape. All right. Everybody has something that, I'll do it if I have to, but not to the point of pain. Don't go to the point of pain. All right. So I'm going to think, what's the next thing I'll do? I'm trying to think of all of the shapes that you can use to determine new chords. Okay, there's a ton of them. All right, so I'm going to try to teach you as many as possible. And then I'm going to ask you to start being aware of open chord shapes. What do I mean by open chord? Usually the first 3 frets. All right, they don't all work nicely because some of these chords, like this C chord here, that is a chord shape. Okay, I'll go over that. That can become an E flat. That can become a D flat, whatever you want it to be. Your G, it's really not the shape you think it is because it's hard to explain. All right, here's the real shape of G. It's the shape of E, F, G. There's the real shape of G. This is, because it happens to fall nicely in with your E, A, D, G, B, E tuning, that's the most commonly used shape of G, okay? Some people play it like this. G, G major chord, just otherwise known as G. All right? But yeah, that's more of a different shape, okay? So anyway, I don't want to get too crazy into this. So thank you for hanging in there. Pay attention to your chord shapes. If you're playing a major 7th chord, it works the same for a major 7th shape. okay, for most major seventh shapes. If it works for you, then yay, okay? The minor seventh shapes, we already talked about that. I want to go over the seventh chord shapes, okay? There's two of them. There's E seventh and there's A seventh, all right? And so that's where I'll stop, and I'll try to combine those into one lesson. Like I said, I was for E minor seventh and A minor seventh, which became 2 lessons. Sorry about that. I just don't like them to become too long, you know, which they already are anyway. So, sorry. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.